Tonight on The Edge, it's the final countdown with just 92 hours until Election Day. The presidential campaigns are making their last best effort to woo voters here in Michigan. Today, both former President Donald Trump and Democratic vice presidential nominee Tim Walz made stops in Metro Detroit. Now, the former president spoke to a crowd tonight at Macomb Community College in Warren.
The visit comes after he spoke poorly about the city of Detroit. And as Fox 2's Dave Kinchin reports, he's not backing down on his view of our city.
Former President Donald Trump making his final pitch in Warren, stumping at Macomb Community College Friday afternoon with somewhat of a bittersweet tone, since the large campaign rallies he's known for are drawing to a close with only 4 days until Election Day.
We're not going to have this too much longer. You know, we're winding down.
Trump spoke for more than 2 hours in his usual form of taking the long way to make various points, telling his crowd to dream big and get ready for what he calls America's golden age, while taking Vice President Kamala Harris to task.
She doesn't know what the hell she's doing. Kamala's inflation nightmare has cost a typical American family $30,000 in higher prices, and she's continuing to cost you an additional $1,100 for every single month.
Trump got some backup from Robert F. Kennedy Jr., the Supreme Court denying his bid to get his name off Michigan's ballot.
I do not want you to vote for me. If you want to see me go to Washington, you better vote for Donald Trump.
And once again, Trump painted a negative picture of Detroit, saying he is the only choice to turn the city around, along with saving and creating more jobs in the auto industry.
You know, they've been talking about a renaissance and a rebirth for Detroit for 45 years. And I got into some heat because I said, they've been talking about it for 45 years, and if it's okay with you, it hasn't exactly happened, okay? You know, I'd like to say it did, but it hasn't. And if I did, you'd hit me on that one too. But it can happen, and I'd love to steer it right over to here where it all began, because it's very sad. It's very sad what's happened.
His supporters say they're fired up in the waning days of the race.
Everything he said was amazing. I like that he has a plan, and he always does exactly what he says he's going to do. So I'm definitely voting for Trump.
We want what's best for America, and we want our money to be spent here, not on foreign wars that we don't care about. We need this country saved.
And from former President Trump's rally tonight in Warren to Vice President Harris's rally at the start of the week in Ann Arbor, when both candidates asked the crowd to raise their hands if they voted already, about 80% of the hands in the House went up. So really, this is all about getting those independent voters and those who may be able to be swayed one way or another. They're also working hard, both Harris and Trump, in Milwaukee tonight, campaigning there, underscoring the importance of Wisconsin. In Warren, Dave Kinchin on The Edge.
Prior to his rally in Warren, former President Trump made a campaign stop in Dearborn.
And during his visit, he doubled down on comments he made about Republican Liz Cheney, who is supporting Kamala Harris in the election.
I think that Liz Cheney is a disaster. All she wants to do is blow people up. She's a war hawk and a dumb one at that. And if you ever put her into the field of battle, she'd be the first one to chicken out.
Trump first made the Warhawk comments during a rally in Arizona last night. The state attorney general is now investigating whether the violent comments broke the law.
Meanwhile, Dearborn's Mayor Abdullah Hammoud addressed Trump's visit on social media. He says, quote, people in this community know what Trump stands for. We've suffered through it for years. I've refused to sit down with him, although the requests keep coming in. Trump will never again be my president. To the Dems, your unwillingness to stop funding and enabling genocide created a space for Trump to infiltrate our communities. Remember that. Democratic vice presidential candidate Tim Walz also campaigned in Metro Detroit today.
Walz spoke to a group of union workers in Taylor.
This game is tied. There's 2 minutes left, folks. The good news is we've got the ball. We got the best quarterback in the league with Kamala Harris having the ball.
Walz says the focus now is protecting unions and that if Harris is elected, it will reverse damage done during Trump's presidency.
Said under his presidency, you won't lose a single plant. You won't lose a single manufacturing plant. And I said this, technically he did not lie. You lost 6 plants. Across the country, including right down the street in Warren.
Walz also made stops today in Flint and Traverse City. UAW President Shawn Fain also getting out the vote for Kamala Harris.
Fain and local lawmakers hope they can push union members to the polls.
And it's the working class who built this country. And on Tuesday, when we defeat Donald Trump and land another body blow to the billionaire class, it'll be because you delivered that victory.
UAW President Shawn Fain says this upcoming election is the defining one for a generation. He spoke to a crowd of hundreds at the labor union Solidarity House in Detroit Friday evening.
But in the UAW and in our labor movement, our response to hate and division is simple. Our answer is solidarity. If we stick together, we will never lose.
A who's who of the Democratic Party and lawmakers took the podium for a final voting push for some 370,000 active UAW members. A well-known face from the Bronx, the keynote of the night.
I feel like the Bronx and Detroit are like cousins a little bit, you know what I'm saying? We got the same fighting spirit out here. We got a chip on our shoulder because we know what it means to be underestimated.
The very progressive AOC in town urging folks to get to the polls. During her stop, taking time to jab at former President Trump, his digging comments about Detroit from last month.
We heard it from Trump saying, oh, we want, what's going to happen? The world's going to be like Detroit? Hell yeah. Hell yeah, that's right. I would love to be like a place that is home to the strongest, most fighting union in the United States of America.
Michigan Secretary of State Jocelyn Benson spoke with a large UAW badge on her blazer, delivering a message to not let any kind of intimidation or fear-mongering stop anyone from casting their ballots Tuesday.
This week alone has been filled with so much mudslinging and misinformation, all designed to discourage us from participating or even believing in our own voices.
Assuring once again there will be a fair election in Michigan, even saying all eyes of the country, even the world, are watching.
We're going to stand up to anyone, anywhere, anytime who tries to stand in the way of our rights and our freedoms.
Now, this was interesting. Local lawmaker Rashida Tlaib was also there. Tlaib would not endorse Kamala Harris at the rally. She instead said to focus on some of the other races that'll be on the ballot, not just the presidential. But interesting, it was more what she didn't say.
Yeah, and sending quite a message that way, too. Thanks, Jessica. Well, also tonight, the Department of Justice announces plans to monitor elections in Metro Detroit. DOJ staff will monitor compliance with federal voting laws in Warren, Ann Arbor, Hamtramck, Detroit, and Flint. We're told the Justice Department's personnel will contact state and local election officials as needed throughout the day. Now, they'll make sure laws such as the Voting Rights Act and the National Voter Registration Act are being followed.
And it's not even election day. Check out the lines for early voting today at the Kosdick Center in Farmington Hills. One voter tells us it took just under 2 hours to go through the line and submit his ballot. He also says it was worth it, and he was happy to see such a high turnout.
Well, November begins just like that. Our stretch of 70s and almost 80s, long gone, it feels like.
Tease. Meteorologist Stephanie Mead has our forecast.
Yeah, so luckily we do have a few more 70s in the extended, which is actually nice and kind of unheard of for the month of November. And we'll get to when that arrives. But for this weekend, we're more so seasonal. Temperatures right now are cooling off relatively quickly, too. We have a lot of clear skies that are overhead, so that's allowing some of that heat that we stored underneath the cloud cover today kind of to release itself. So it is looking much cooler tonight. Temps will be in the 30s, 38 Howell, 33 right now in Ann Arbor, mid 40s in Detroit right now at 44, 41 in Pontiac. So it is starting to get a little chilly outside. Not dealing with anything on radar though, which is great. So we are mainly dry tonight and into tomorrow and through a good portion of the day on Sunday as well. Upper 30s tonight for an overnight low. We're going to continue to see those numbers at least cool through the overnight, early tomorrow morning. We bottom out in the, say, lower to middle 30s around the 4, 5, 6 o'clock hour. And then tomorrow we rebound nicely into the middle 50s. Still cool, but this is exactly where we should be for this time of year in terms of our daytime highs. It'll be a bright one for sure. And we have a lot going on Saturday. We have 2 home Michigan games. We have Michigan State and Michigan. And then we also fall back early Sunday morning as well. And it's going to be a pretty ideal weekend just to be out and about. Maybe you have to get some last minute chores done before we officially welcome in some of those colder days. Temps though on Sunday, a little warmer, upper 50s. Overall, a nice feel. We fall back. Today's sunrise was at 8:07, sunset just before 6:30. As we head into Sunday though, sunrise is going to be at around 7:08. It's going to be an early sunset though at 5:22. So we do lose kind of the back end of those brighter days. Otherwise, rain chances will begin to increase too as we head through Sunday. Monday into Tuesday, pretty good shot of some moisture as well. Late Sunday is when we have that next shot for some rain. So a lot of our daytime hours staying mainly dry. We'll increase cloud cover though with that next system. And then rain on and off for Monday. That'll continue into Tuesday for Election Day as well. But luckily, temperatures do warm up. 72 on Monday. Tuesday will be in the mid 70s. By the later part of the work week, rain chances will begin to diminish Wednesday. Temperatures, though, do remain almost 10 degrees above the seasonal high with highs in the lower 60s through about Friday.
What in the hell?
Not to praise them a bit, but you got to be a skilled driver to do that.
Yeah, have you ever seen anything like this? Reversing away from the cops is one way to end up behind bars. The driver of this stolen SUV is now facing charges after whipping around a Dearborn gas station and peeling onto Ford Road. Other drivers caught in the middle of the chase had to slam on the brakes to avoid crashing. Police boxed in the suspect about a minute later. Thankfully, nobody was hurt.